President Trump announces new tariffs just days before his trade deal deadline. I'm Erica Brown with more on that and the latest push by lawmakers to force the release of the Epstein files.
We start tonight at 5 with Governor Kim Reynolds issuing a statement after a video was released on Fox News allegedly showing a staff member at the University of Iowa discussing ways they work to get around DEI restrictions put in place by the state and the Trump administration. In her statement, Reynolds says, quote, "I'm appalled by the remarks made in this video by a University of Iowa employee who blatantly admits to defying DEI restrictions I signed into law on May 9th, 2024. I already issued a letter to the Board of Regents on January 23rd, 2025, reminding university representatives to comply not only with state law, but an executive order signed by President Trump ending implementation of DEI policies at public institutions. Today, the governor sent an official complaint to Attorney General Brenna Byrd to review. Byrd released the following statement saying, quote, "Regent universities must comply with their state laws, including the Iowa Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Act, and also an executive order signed by President Trump." Eastern Iowans are again cleaning up after getting hit by multiple storms with high winds the past couple of days. A line of storms Monday into Tuesday with winds of up to nearly 100 miles an hour is preliminarily classified as a derecho. Nearly 2,000 people are still without power today after those storms, and new storms this morning swept through the state. There's 900 in Black Hawk County alone. MidAmerican doesn't have an estimated time for things to be restored after working all day yesterday to get power back in some of the same areas. We're also tracking rising rivers across eastern Iowa after weeks of heavy rain left the ground saturated and streams running high. Rain early this week having an impact on the Cedar, Webster-Pennington, English, North Skunk, and Iowa rivers. Cedar Rapids has closed Otis Road southeast with parks and boat ramps in different counties expected to close as well. Now let's get things over to David. More rain came through today and it actually feels quite comfortable out there.
Walking out today felt bearable compared to where we have been the last few days. It was 90 and now it's only down into the mid 70s, but you're right, the big story today has been more of that rain. River flood alerts are out for the Cedar, the Iowa, and the Wapsie rivers as well. Most of those turning into flood warnings now just for low-lying roads and low-lying agricultural areas. That's all because of the heavy rain that we've seen in the last few days and also today as well. You can see up in the north where we got most of the rain, up to 3 inches as well. That's really contributed to the extra water we're going to see flowing down the down the rivers. And we're looking outside right now. We can see those clearer skies start to make their way in after a pretty cloudy day. Some showers and storms still possible. In fact, actually today we've hit the record high, daily high for rainfall rate at 1.3 inches. We'll have more on when this rain will end coming up in your full weather first forecast.
And remember, you can download our free weather app to keep track of the weather as it rolls in. We can get you better coverage than the app that's already pre-installed on your phone. Just head to your favorite app store and type in Iowa's News Now WX. With the recent Medicaid funding cuts, hospitals are having to respond. Iowa's News Now reporter Kaylee Whitlatch is in Washington with how one rural hospital is preparing for a potential new budget.
Rural hospitals say they could be hit the hardest with cuts to Medicaid, with potential changes to patient care, as critical programs could be on the chopping block.
Medicaid is essential not only for children and adults and people with disabilities and elderly. I mean, there's 3 nursing homes here in town. What's going to happen to this community?
Robin Plattenberger is a retired physician in Washington. She's been retired for about 8 years now, after serving Iowans for more than a decade and a half. She says it's already difficult to get a doctor's appointment in rural communities, and it could soon get even harder.
If you can imagine having 3% to cover any kind of emergency, failure of equipment, replacement of equipment, recruitment of lost staff, that kind of thing. So there's really no extra money in a hospital. And now you cut back what you've had and you just have no choice, cut service.
Washington Hospital and Clinic CEO Todd Patterson is not sharing exact examples, but he says the facility is considering plans that least impact its daily operations.
At some point in the future, as it's written, there probably will be fewer people that are on Medicaid, which will probably reduce the overall coverage. We are doing things like scenario planning, trying to figure out, if we can identify what these cuts are going to be long term, how we start absorbing those things now and do it in a way that is not detrimental to our patient care or our staff.
2 in 5 Iowans on Medicaid live in a rural area. Plattenberger says smaller towns already face challenges with medical care, and the new shift in Medicaid could make for even more difficulty reaching patients.
We're not recruiting young physicians here because, one thing, the pay is less here in Iowa. Same thing with nurses. They can go to another state and make twice what they would here. So there are a lot of things that need to be addressed in order for our communities to thrive.
In Washington, Iowa, Kaylee Whitlatch reporting.
President Trump says the August 1st deadline to implement new tariffs on trading partners could include one of America's largest allies in Asia. The president says India's trade policies have been hurting America and helping fund a war. Erica Brown reports from Washington.
President Trump says he's ready to impose a 25% tariff on India.
They sell a lot to us, but we don't buy from them. You know why? Because the tariff is so high. They have one of the highest tariffs in the world. Now they're willing to cut it very substantially, but we'll see what happens.
New Delhi says it will evaluate Trump's latest comments. The U.S. and India have held multiple rounds of trade talks but have not come to an agreement.
We're talking to India now. We'll see what happens. It doesn't matter too much whether we have a deal or whether we charge them a certain tariff, but you'll know at the end of this week.
And he wants an additional penalty for India buying military equipment and oil from Russia, which President Trump says helps fund Russia's war with Ukraine. The president is also deflecting questions about Justice Department files related to Jeffrey Epstein.
It's getting to be very old news.
Senate Democrats announced they are invoking a little-known law to try to force the DOJ to release all Epstein documents by August 15th.
Under federal law, when any 5 senators on the Homeland Security Committee call on the executive branch must comply.
Republicans say the move is likely to trigger court challenges before the Trump administration complies. Erica Brown, CBS News, Washington.